Hi guys, my name's Lexi. I'm in a hotel, so my Wi-Fi might not be the greatest, but let's give it a shot. My physical activity intervention revolves around my client, and I do have some demographic information here. She's a middle-aged mother of five. She has a history of sports in her adolescent years, growing up, that type of thing. She actually sustained a season and basically career-ending volleyball knee injury in high school, and she was going to go play collegiate volleyball. Um, and that definitely ruined her chances there. And then she's also a full-time employee now. So on top of being the mother of five, she works full-time as well. So identifying the focus of the intervention for her is really increase any form of physical activity 3 to 4 times a week for about 30 minutes, as well as 1 day of rehabilitation. I think, having her work out 3 to 4 times a week for 30 minutes isn't big of a task. Anyone can kind of budget in and account for 30 minutes of doing something, whether it's walking, whether it's playing with one of her kids, whether it's walking her dog, or going to the gym. She does have a gym membership as well. I also think throwing in 1 day of rehabilitation, whether it's an off day at the gym or just doing some regular knee exercises at home, is going to be super beneficial in the long-term advancement of her physical health and well-being, as well as rehabbing the knee to hopefully gain some confidence back there as well. This is important to her because losing the excess weight will allow her to return to a sport she once loved. Her old orthopedic physician had told her, due to her previous knee injury, the weight isn't helping her in any way, shape, or form. So her previously injured knee cannot withstand the demands for some physical activity, and volleyball is kind of being thrown into the mix there. And benefits: you're going to have increased interactions with her children. Her children want to be active. Some of them want to get involved in sports. And so I think also getting her involved, getting her in a healthier mindset and a healthier mind-body connection, and a better state of physical activity is going to allow her to be closer to her children and to practice with them and play with them and spend time with them when it comes to sports. It'll also assist with the caloric deficit needed to produce results via body composition. So basically changing the fat mass and muscle mass ratio. And a caloric deficit is usually needed for any type of transformation when it comes to weight loss. I really hate using that term, but nonetheless, the caloric deficit will help with body recomposition. And it also allows feel-good endorphins to be released and allows for confidence to be built. So, exercising releases oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, all of those great endorphins that allow us to feel really good about ourselves post-workout, which is great. So identifying some rationales for step 2. So some determinants are time, the children to mother ratio, lack of motivation, lack of commitment, and a high interest in quick fixes. So like I did say, she is a mother of five, so she does have a lot on her plate. They're all under the age of 17, I believe, from like 10 to 17. So she has a lot going on. A lot of their busy schedules. One kid is in ROTC, school, homework, extracurriculars, all of that type of stuff, as well as working a full-time job. So I do understand it is hard for her to carve out time to allow for physical activity. And that kind of goes hand in hand to the children to mother ratio. The lack of motivation really stems, I think, from lack of education, where she doesn't really know what to do, what's most beneficial for her. She sees a lot of things on social media that she wants to recreate, but it's just not feasible, that type of ordeal. The lack of commitment really comes from not holding herself accountable, and then I'll go on to talk about interventions for that, obviously, after this little section. But basically, she finds it hard to hold herself accountable, and she finds it very easy to fall off of the wagon and revert back to her old ways. She also has a high interest in quick fixes. So when it comes to altering food intake and dieting and that whole ordeal, she really looks for things such as keto. So with keto and your body being in ketosis, you're going to find that number drop on the scale due to dehydration, of intracellular dehydration, loss of water weight, because carbohydrates are a wet source. She also looks into anything with like detoxes, quick fix type things like that, which she's interested in. some things like keto and intermittent fasting work really well for people, but she does have PCOS, which also plays a role in how her body metabolizes carbohydrates and insulin production and insulin metabolism and all of that type of thing. So she does look for more of a quick fix than a healthier long-term longevity option. So step 3, identifying specific strategies. For time, I said to carve out a specific time to go to the gym or participate in physical activity and hold yourself accountable. So for me, I know it works really well for me as well as a lot of people. If you have a planner, put it in there, block it off like you have a meeting that you're going to, this fake meeting when it's really just you going to the gym. Mother to child ratio. So go on a walk with one or two of the children, do activities with them that also get you moving and it's something they enjoy, or honestly be willing just to openly talk with your spouse to see if they'd be willing to supervise the house for a couple hours. Like I said, her kids range from 10 to 17-ish, so they are old enough to be unsupervised for a little bit, but I would just say, talk to your spouse and just ask and see if he would be willing to watch and supervise the household for a couple hours while you went to the gym. When it comes to lack of motivation, you're not going to have motivation all the time, and that's definitely normal. So I would just be sure to state that understanding that some days doing the bare minimum and going through the motions is better than doing nothing at all, even if it doesn't feel like it, especially in the beginning. So especially in the beginning, we're really trying to get in the routine, get in the groove of things, and so that's super important, especially if you feel like you're lacking motivation on some days. Lack of commitment, I would say schedule specific times and hold yourself accountable. That kind of goes hand in hand with the time issue. And I also said you could join an accountability group to hold you responsible, or make an accountability Snapchat post or Instagram post or Facebook post. And quick fixes, I think that comes down to education. Understand that quick fixes are usually some detox, and a lot of them are overrated diuretics or something of that nature. And so understand that it took your body a while to get to the place it was now. Don't expect changes overnight, and that's just being realistic with the client. And just understanding and educating them on how everything is going to work. So step 4, for specific things to do, I said buy a planner or create a time audit log. So that really goes hand in hand with like the time and lack of motivation aspect. I said have open communication between the family and the individual. Her kids are old enough to understand, hey, mom wants to go do a workout. And so if they want to join, I feel like she should be very open to that idea. And they should also be open to the idea of letting mom do a workout by herself if she needs to. On the same note, get the kids involved. Complete a workout or some form of physical activity with one child once a week. And that's 5 days of activity right there, which seems crazy to me when I typed it out. But yeah, I mean, you have kids that want to be active, so go out and do something with the kids that want to be active. And then also, it really boils down to education. I'd really provide this client with the education necessary to see through false claims. So, it boils down to a lot of supplements and companies like that aren't regulated by the FDA. So they can make any claims that they want, and they don't really have any repercussions if they don't meet those claims. Same thing when it comes to quick fixes or Instagram models, posing a certain way in perfect lighting, flexing with a pump, adjusting the filters, all of that type of thing. So I really think it would just come to educating that patient and hopefully propelling her forward to be the best version of herself and to stay active and to, just continue on when everything gets rough. And I think that would be the best thing to do for this client specifically.